Once again, it's a privilege to be welcome into your homes. Today, we are reading from Luke chapter 24, verse 35 to 48. The disciples of Jesus recounted what had taken place along the way and how they had come to recognize him in the breaking of bread. While they were still speaking about this, he stood in their midst and said to them, "Peace be with you." But they were startled and terrified and thought that they were seeing a ghost. Then he said to them, "Why are you troubled? And why do questions arise in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Touch me and see, because a ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you can see I have." And as he said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. While they were still incredulous for joy and were amazed, he asked them, "Have you anything here to eat?" They gave him a piece of baked fish. He took it and ate it in front of them. He said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses and in the prophets and Psalms must be fulfilled." Then he opened their minds to understand the scriptures. And he said to them, "Thus it is written, that the Christ will suffer and rise from the dead, and on the third day, and that repentance for the forgiveness of sins will be preached in his name to all the nations, beginning from Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things." There are a lot of emotions attributed to the disciples in the reading. When Jesus initially stood among them with his gift of peace, their response was one of alarm and fright, thinking they were seeing a ghost. Jesus then addressed them as people who are very agitated and full of doubt. When he showed them his hands and feet, joy became their dominant emotions. Indeed, the gospel reading says something unusual at this point. Their joy was so great that they still could not believe it. Fear had given way to joy, and yet they still struggled to believe that Jesus was actually alive and standing among them. The gospel reading conveys a sense of how unexpected the event of Easter Sunday was for the disciples. The reason Jesus had to go great lengths to convince them that he was alive, and alive in a new and more powerful way. There are times when we too can be tempted to think that the message of Easter is too good to be true. Yet Easter is at the core of our faith. Without Easter, the Friday on which Jesus was crucified would never have come to be known as Good Friday. It was only in the light of Easter that Jesus' death came to be understood not just as yet one more tragic execution of an innocent person, but as a revelation of the God of love and life. Dear friends, we are invited to allow ourselves to savor something of the joy of those first disciples. Shalom.